Welcome to the Art and Science of Complex Sales. This is a podcast where we explore how the best B2B sales leaders make the complex simple, drive relationships and revenue, and generally elevate the sales profession. In this podcast, we're bringing together sales experts, thought leaders, top account executives, buyers, industry insiders, all to share their experiences and best practices for navigating the complex sales cycle. So whether you're a seasoned sales professional, a sales leader, or just starting out, you're going to find practical insights and actionable advice that you can apply to your own sales journey. Plus, we have a bit of fun. Today, we're excited to welcome back to the show Gretchen Gordon. Gretchen leads a team of experts who focus on people, processes, and pipeline to accelerate sales and profits and transform organizations. We're excited to talk with her today about a recent book. It's a deep dive into the art and science of being a successful sales manager, and it's aptly titled The Happy Sales Manager. The book is a must-read for those looking to get into sales management, founders that are managing sales, and sales managers that are looking to level up their performance. So let's get rolling. Gretchen Gordon, welcome back to the Art and Science of Complex Sales. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I am excited to have you because we're doing it under some special circumstances. You've been busy recently, I hear.
Yeah, I've been busy. I wrote a book, and it's out on October 3rd. So yeah, pretty excited.
Nice. So we're doing a little bit of pre-recording here to drop this. This will probably drop like right after, but tell me a little bit about the book because I'm pumped to read it. I know you've had some great listeners on the program that'll be excited to read it as well. So what got you started on writing a book?
So the book is The Happy Sales Manager, and it is all about helping those sales managers who maybe are feeling less confident than they were if they were promoted, when they were a sales rep, let's say, a salesperson promoted into the role. It's mostly designed for those individuals who are feeling maybe overwhelmed, a little bit nervous about did they make a good choice by accepting the position. And I wrote it because I was, I don't know if you know this or not, Paul, but I fell into sales like so many people do and really hated sales in the beginning. I was not a natural born salesperson.
Really?
I actually quit Girl Scouts because I was petrified of the Girl Scout cookie sale. And seriously.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay.
And so fell into actually selling cookies for Procter and Gamble right out of college. And I really didn't like it because my perception of sales was that you are just trying to persuade someone to do something. You're trying to manipulate somebody into doing something. And I felt super uncomfortable. Fortunately, I kind of through grit and determination figured it out. I had a great couple of mentors and folks who brought me along and helped me realize that sales isn't about trying to get someone to do something. It's about helping people accomplish their goals. So lo and behold, I'm, going along in the sales role, loving it, having success, all the great things that are related to sales. And I got tapped to be promoted into being a sales manager. And I did it. And once again, I found myself in a very uncomfortable situation because I'd been really successful in sales and I didn't know how to turn that into how do I get other people to be successful in sales? And so, I've been in this sales biz about 40 years now. And this book has been circling around in my head for a number of years, but I finally had the opportunity to sit down, put my thoughts on paper, and put it into a book to really help as many of those maybe unhappy sales managers out there, people who have been promoted, might even be, an entrepreneur who is now, running, needs to hire salespeople and is running a sales team. or is someone who has run other areas of the organization and is now tapped to run the sales team, which can be very different. So it's really designed for those people to take away the stress and the frustration associated with not knowing what to do, because most managers are never, trained on what to do to be effective and also enjoy your job.
So we've talked about this before, and one of the things, direct areas that we've talked about, is that high performer that goes into a sales rep. And I want to address that, but I want to address that a little bit later. You just brought up a second use case, which is the selling founder that that hates to manage sales, that hates to, but it's a part of their gig and it's a part of what they do, and they're really good at multitasking and they're really good at innovation and ideas. And so, how does this book, and how do you help that selling founder that is ready to transition to, or in a time they need to be that good sales manager?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because it's not rocket science, let's just say that, but it is a combination of, let's say, art and science.
Hey, it's the podcast.
Yeah. It is a combination of, these are the tactical things to do, which generally people can pick those up, or, what KPIs are we going to measure? What do I need the salespeople to actually do from an activity standpoint? But the flip side of it is kind of the mindset associated with it. Let's talk about that, that founder who got the thing going, got it off the ground, is probably always going to be the best salesperson for the company, just because of the title and the passion and the background and everything. So how do we bottle that and take that and help a team that they might be hiring and growing to be more successful? And it's not just do what I did. It's not just, hey, say what I said, because they can't be that person. The salespeople can't be the founder. So it's really, tactical elements. What do you need to do to measure the right things? What do you need to look at to have your salespeople be successful? But also the mindset elements. What mindset do I need to be in to be a successful manager of these people? And then am I willing to do those things? And so it really provides a roadmap for the complete picture of everything that a sales manager needs to think about and execute.
Well, I think that's fantastic. I've met with a lot of founders, right? A lot of selling founders and that type of thing, and they get to a point where, right, they go from having to be that most successful person. They have to pitch the business. They have to found it. They do that. And the ones that make that transition to actually being able to manage and lead, at least the initial 2 to 3 salespeople, or at least be able to lead their VP of sales or whoever they bring in, is critical. They're the ones that are successful. Like the ones that are not, you see it, is that they just get into this rotating version of, well, if salespeople just did it the way I did, right? If they just sold it the way that, well, there's a particular story that I'm thinking about. Guy runs a hot beverage company. Let's just keep it at that, right? But has never experienced the amount of growth that they likely should. But it always comes back to, is that founder in a place to empower with that mindset, or is that founder in a place where they compare with that mindset? Does that make sense? Where they're like comparing
absolutely.
to what I used to do. And I used to be able to do this with, 2 matchsticks and a Kleenex, and these guys can't sell shit, and I give them everything.
Exactly. Why can't they do it? And so you make a really good point, because there are some founders who will really struggle with this and never really want to be in that role. So maybe they shouldn't be. Maybe this is a stepping stone to what they're, we use the term, the blue part of their flame, right? Focus on what they do great But you're right. In the beginning, they may need to suffer through. The book is designed to kind of help them recognize what is it that you need to do and how do you do it. And we actually have exercises in it and a workbook that goes along with it that will give them all the tools they need to be successful for a time period. And maybe that makes it easier to think about, because you're right, there's plenty of people that are great at many other things, and they think they should be great also at leading the sales team, but maybe they do it for a finite period of time till they get the sales, till they can prove out that other people can actually sell the product or services. And then they'll know what a manager that they might bring in needs to do to be successful. And they can maybe let go of the vine a little bit, so to speak.
So will this book help, let's say, those unhappy sales managers? Will it help them opt out of seeing sales management as a potential career if they can't?
It might. But people shouldn't be scared about that. We see what would be worse is if the person just suffered through and said, well, I'm supposed to be the manager because I got promoted and it's a bigger title, or, whatever goes along with that. And so sales suffer. What you really want is individuals to, contribute at their highest service. And sometimes promoting a salesperson to sales manager is a catastrophe because they don't have the right mindset. Most companies don't have the resources to train them and develop them and coach them to, do what they need to do. And so it's more detrimental to the individual and the company. What I find is perfectly good salespeople lose their confidence. And so then what happens? They leave the company because there's not a path back to, doing what they were great at. So we don't really address it in the book to consider. I talk about it a lot, and we address it with company owners and CEOs all the time. Consider what you're doing and what the long-term consequences are of turning your best salesperson into a sales manager. But you're exactly right, Paul. It's possible that individuals may say, hey, I really don't have the stomach for this or the mindset for this. I thought I could just come and, sprinkle my fairy dust on everybody and tell them to do it the way I do it. But it doesn't work that way. As you know, it's far more complex than that to get a disparate group of salespeople to operate just like, do it just the way I do it. It's not the military. You can't, beat them into submission.
So it sounds like this is actually a book that should be pulled off the shelf as required reading prior to ever getting that promotion.
Yeah, I would think that it would be great reading for someone who is thinking they want to get into sales management and is considering it, and because it will open their eyes to what they need to be great at, what skills they need to acquire and how to acquire them. And then also, how do they need to think about their team, and how do they need to coach, and how do they need to, instead of thinking about themselves and, blowing the doors off the numbers, how do they get everybody on their team to blow the doors off the numbers?
That's great, and I think it's going to be one of those things. I can't wait to read it. I'm going to give it to my sales team as well. But
and it's a quick read too, by the way. It's short.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, that's good. Short on purpose.
130 some pages.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, you know your audience, right?
Yeah, sales managers don't have a long attention span. Rightly so.
Rightly so. We need to be in a lot of places, an absolute lot of places. So let's talk about some of the recommendations you can give. And this, we won't dive into the book specifically, but let's dive into that the idea of, okay, I'm a founder. I'm ready to promote my first sales manager. I'm ready to take a sales manager and level or a salesperson and level them up. What are the key parts of this that they need to be? You talk a little bit about mindset, but just give me a little bit of hints. Like what are some of the key things about that mindset, about the key skills that they need to have, so we can give a little bit of taste.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So I would say they have to have a propensity to think about the team first and coaching the individuals on the team. And coaching isn't telling people what to do. Coaching is genuinely helping people become the best version of themselves, right? So giving feedback, asking questions, so why'd you say that? Did you forget to do this? That kind of thing. So we're talking like having the inclination to help other people get better. Number two, having the willingness to hold people accountable to what they need to do to accomplish the goal. So kind of having this focus of the bigger mission, so to speak, so if our goal is to sell X, then I can't get too worried if, Bob or Mary or John are, I can't get down in the weeds and worry too much about them being unhappy with me as the manager if I point some things out to them that they're not doing that are going to prevent them from being successful. So I would say absolutely two key components. If you think about the mindset related to those things, you have to not care too much what the salespeople think of you as the manager. You have to not worry if they like you. And that can be especially difficult if you were a peer and now you're being promoted. So, leader, owner, CEO needs to think about that. How are you going to help this person get the right mindset around the fact that they used to go out for drinks with, their buddies all the time because they were a peer of theirs. And now they can still do that, but they might also have to give some feedback or critique that like, hey, you've been slacking off a little bit. You were supposed to have X number of first meetings each week and you're not doing that. And how are they going to be able to do that? So a big thing is the mindset around, I can't care if people like me. I'm doing it for their own good. I'm helping them achieve success and get to a better place so we all can be successful. So I would say, off the top, those are key things. And then if you're going to be in a significant growth mode, you got to get the recruiting and interviewing and selection down. You got to figure out the right way to do that. And we do address all of those things, by the way, in the book.
Well, that is one part that I was gonna go there, which is how you transition somebody from being the best salesperson to having a role in finding the best sales talent, right? Because that's an absolutely critical part for a sales manager. Is you find that talent as well as nurture that talent.
Yep.
And so, give me a little taste about, not the whole thing, but a little taste about finding that talent and how you help people transition to that.
Well, too frequently, sales managers, especially those that were successful salespeople and are now, in a role where they got to hire people, they're going to be most comfortable with people that are similar personality style, right? They're going to feel most comfortable from an interviewing standpoint with people that they feel are most similar to them. That can be really dangerous. Let's just rely on my gut reaction. Oh, he was great. We really connected. The issue is that people don't fail in a sales job because of their strengths, maybe their ability to connect and, build a relationship quickly, maybe, bond and, find some common ground, which is you would hope a sales candidate would do in an interview. they fail because they don't do the critically important things that will enable them to have success. So we have to be more objective in the, on the front end. We happen to be, huge supporters of Objective Management Group in this capacity where you can objectively identify, does this candidate have the critical traits that they need that will help them be successful, or do they not? And then you can become more subjective, I guess I would say, in the interviewing process. You can determine whether they're going to fit into your culture, so to speak. Too frequently, especially new sales managers, just think, oh, I like them, they're going to fit, I can tell them what to do. I can train them up. I can coach them up. And they ignore the glaring issues that are missing. And then they don't realize the pain and suffering, because they haven't done it before, or that they're going to go through if they hire the wrong person for the position. So you put a system in place to do that.
And that is great advice. Any new sales manager needs to get this book, read this book, and take that advice, because there's nothing as painful as there's nothing as painful as making a bad hire. It puts in putting the wrong person in the wrong place on the team. It puts stress on that sales manager. They tend to overcompensate for results. They tend to do a lot of things, and they're dealing with the pain of a lot of times relationships that just don't work. Yeah. So absolutely dive in, grab this book. Gretchen, how do people find you if they want to reach out? And then how do they find the book?
Okay, so easy peasy. You can either go to braveheartsales.com, which is my company, or you can go to the happysalesmanager.com. But there's a spot on, just go to braveheartsales.com. And I'm G Gordon at braveheartsales.com. If people
you showed me the book on Kindle, I think. Is it going to be on Amazon and everything?
It's going to be, it will be an e-version, so you can get a Kindle, hardcover, paperback, and an audio book as well.
Are you reading the audiobook?
No.
Oh, dang it. Dang it.
I know.
You didn't ask me to read it. I'm absolutely 100% offended.
I thought about it, and I thought about doing it myself, but oh my gosh, there are some amazing narrators out there that have much better diction than I do, so people will be able to actually understand it better.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. So excited for you and your new book, dropping October 3rd. So by the time everybody's listened to this, you can absolutely listen to this. Go directly, go get it. We'll put the link and everything in the episode notes. And Gretchen, as always, it is awesome to talk to you.
Thank you. It was so great, Paul. I appreciate it.
All right. With that, we'll close it out for today's episode of The Art and Science of Complex Sales. Keep shining bright, everybody. Talk soon.
Thank you so much for listening to The Art and Science of Complex Sales. This podcast is sponsored by Membrane and our partners from around the globe. Here at Membrane, we believe that B2B sales is at a crossroads. Due to decades of quantity-based prospecting, information overload, and really a shift towards efficiency over service and pitching over leadership in sales, customers are saying enough is enough. They're tuning out average performers and choosing to take most of the buying journey on their own. This results in up and down sales results, forecasts that are all over the place, and salespeople that are half committed due to the fact that they're having poor results and they have an inability to truly connect with customers. We believe the road successful companies are taking to combat this is threefold. Number one, training to create leaders and executives across all areas of the team with strong habits and sales methodologies that bring value. Number two, technology. Technology that focuses and helps a salesperson succeed and reinforces great habits, rather than wasting their time on filling out fields for reporting or wasting their time on spamming customers that have no interest in ever buying. Third, talent. And I'm talking about talent that's empowered and emboldened to make a difference for their customers and their companies. So where are you on that journey? Membrane and our network of partners across the globe are here to help and to elevate the sales profession. We streamline critical technology by combining CRM, training and enablement, and more into one seamless platform. We drive best-in-class methodologies through our partners. They provide the top thought leadership methodologies and resources from across the globe. And our collective efforts are dedicated to recruiting, training, coaching, and empowering, and measuring the habits of the top teams in the world to ensure success. Join us at membrane.com to learn more. And thank you so much for listening.